Hey everybody, welcome back to the Off Ramp. I am your host, Thomas Jason Anderson. If you guys did not get to be able to see it over the weekend, um, I became I took a step up, I guess, in the political world. I saw a few people who have come on my feed, especially from Guyana, question, "Hey, why isn't he on the national level in the United States talking politics? If we're to believe him, well, yeah." I've taken a step up, guys, and I did do a pretty big interview. I want to thank Steve Adubato, who is with PBS out of New Jersey. Let me just show you guys so you can see, just in case you missed it. Okay, let's see. No, I guess that doesn't work. That's not the way to do it. Anyway, I'm gonna, you know what? Let me fix it now. Okay, let's see. So yeah, I'm gonna try to share the screen with you guys on this so that you can take a look. Oh, you know what? I need to do a different window. My bad. Sorry, guys. Okay, so let me pull this up really quick. It was a really good show, by the way. Steve, if you guys don't know who Mr. Adubato is for PBS, his show's called One on One with Steve Adubato. He's been doing it for a long time. He's had a lot of big names on. He's had guys on like Al Sharpton and whatnot. So the interview was not an easy interview. Um, it was difficult. Here we go. So if you guys missed it, it's on my Facebook page. But I was on his show because I was discussing Gold Bar Bob, and he wanted me on because after he read the book, and he's known New Jersey his entire political career in the media space, and he also knew Bob Menendez personally, and as he knew, Bob Menendez was just a giant politically, not just in New Jersey but for the world. And so he knew after he read the book that it was an important story, the book, and the reason why the story is important is because it tells all of us here in the world really um, what's going on in the United States, what's going on in the world politically, what's really going on, not what you're seeing in the news, not what you're getting through your social media people, what is really going on. And what's really going on is a lot scarier than what people want to admit. So that's why I had to write the book, right? Um, I spent an entire career behind the scenes, um, never taking credit for a lot of the research that I did. I got a lot of big stories over the wall. There are many politicians who their careers are ended because of the work that I initiated. Um, and I wanted to keep it that way. I always wanted to stay in the background, but the universe has, as you guys all know, sometimes you have one thing in your mind that you want to do, but the universe says, nah, 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 there's something else for you to do. And so here I am today with you guys. And this is that something else. It's off ramp. And what I'm doing now is I'm sharing with the world a behind the scenes look of what's happening in politics in America, what's happening in the media space in America, what's really happening. I'm not doing it for clicks or likes. I'm not doing it for popularity. So I'm not doing it in a fancy way. I'm not doing it in a hyperbolic way. I'm not trying to create drama. I'm trying to create understanding. So it may sound like I support bad guys sometimes. I don't support bad guys. I'm just explaining sometimes the system. And I really don't have a judgment on the individual sometimes because, as all of you know, the system is we're all living under different types of systems. And there's only so much we can do. Yes, we say we're free, but the truth is we're free within a system, right? And so that's what I pay attention to, is the system. And when the system begins to misalign and abuse people, and especially abuse the little guy. And so that's why you'll notice on the off ramp, you will rarely see me talk about people who most of us will consider the little guy. For you guys in Guyana, guys like Mark Benchcott, people like Rickford Burke, people like Melly Mel. Here on the United States side, I'm not really talking about some of the hardworking people in the media space. When I do mention names, it's bigger names because I think they are twisting the system and they're taking advantage of the system. And so you've heard me bring up people like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. I just know personally how they've taken advantage of the system, right? And so I've shared that with you. And if I don't know personally, and if I don't have evidence, I if I say something about it, I will say up front, I don't know, but this is my gut, right? And so you can always expect that here when you come here, is when I speak, you'll know exactly what I mean. If I'm not sure, I'll say it. If I'm wrong, I'll say it. This isn't, I'm not here to, like I said before, get clicks or be the most famous. I'm really here to try to help share the knowledge that many people may consider taboo. A lot of people have told me don't speak about these things because it's the inner structure of things, and people say it's dangerous. Well, everything in the world is dangerous, all right. um Walking outside, taking a walk is a dangerous thing. Eating a steak is dangerous. You don't think that it is, but it is. One wrong bite and you choke and you're out with the steak. Okay, one wrong swallow, um one wrong person driving with, while they're driving with their phone in their hand, not paying attention, boom, they hit you. So yeah, I'm not one of those who lives life worried about every shadow around the corner. So that's why I have the guts to do this. I have the guts to speak up, speak the truth to what I know. But like I said before, I'm doing it in an educational way. I'm not trying to do it in a tear down way. So with that said, I waited all day long. I was going to do this show earlier today, but I said, let the media people and the social media people get their word in on what's going on with Iran and Trump and all that. And I waited so I could give a rebuttal, an off ramp rebuttal. And so for you guys who have been with me, thanks so much for your support. And this is why you tune in. This is why right now, okay? Because I'm about to give a rebuttal to everybody all in one swipe, all of them out there. And it's tied into the title of this video, which is, you know, the Iran war, and all politics are local. That's a saying in American politics. All politics are local. If you go back in time, the United States wasn't always this way when it comes to political rhetoric. There was a time when if a president had to use military force, his detractors in the political space still honored the position of commander in chief, and they didn't go all in on creating a political machine or political weaponry based on a war. They may have criticized, but back in like the 80s, 70s, back before the New York Times did Abu Ghraib on front page for like 3 years straight. Back before then, right? There was a time when war wasn't politicized. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. Maybe in the past that was wrong to not politicize war, and maybe we've got it right with how we're handling it. Let me look at my comments real quick so I can see if anybody. Uh, okay, cool. So, so there used to be a time. Good evening, uh, Shalita. How are you? So there used to be a time when politics was such a way where war wasn't used as a political weapon. to win political points. And, you know, that's no longer the case. And I put a lot of blame on the Democrats, on the New York Times, but I put a lot of blame on Donald Trump too, because yeah, his style, his, bull in a china shop style may have, that's what gives him his political success, but it also opens the door to everything being politicized, including war. And in this case, with the Iran war, you've got what I see is a breakdown between two different narratives. And one of the narratives isn't even being spoken about, but the main narrative I see spoken about right now politically, it's more of an elite narrative about central banking and BRICS. And people are pointing out how, hey, this hurts China, and this is more of a battle between the United States and China, et cetera, et cetera. That's one of the big things going on. Tucker Carlson had a guest on saying that this is all about the central bankers in the West trying to get rid of the countries like Iran who are in BRICS, trying to counter the central banks here. And so it's a so they're wiping out Iran because they wouldn't, go along with the central bankers in the West, which for Tucker Carlson, that gets back into his anti-Israel, whatever it is that he's doing. Which is fine. And that's an argument to have. Okay. And that's a valid argument to have. As a matter of fact, let me show you something to give you an idea of how I probably agree a little bit with him. Right. Okay. Sorry. So I have a book here called A History of Central Banking and the Enslavement of Mankind. Okay. Now, I study stuff like this a lot, and I understand Tucker Carlson's argument because his argument comes from books like these. Okay. And this is a very hard book to find, by the way. It's been banned in most of the places, in a lot of places around the world. It's a very controversial book. This is what Tucker and these guys are basing their ideology on, right? And this Jewish conspiracy thing is a lot of it, but there's other stuff. And that's a very elitist perspective, and he could be correct. But the reason why he speaks about it and others on the right who used to support Trump speak about it in terms of like central banking and all of that is because in their world, the way they view the world is everything needs managers. Tucker Carlson, these people, they're the elite managers of the world. And so it's all about, the central bank maneuvering here, then the BRICS and their central banks maneuvering things over there, and little elite battles between the royalty in the UK. And this is their worldview. And that's an okay view to take, and it's a valid one to take, but in my opinion it doesn't apply to the real world, especially today, because I'm just going to go back to the old thing I brought up before. All politics are local. And so even when it comes to a war in Iran, in a geopolitical situation with China, all politics are local. How is this affecting the local population? What has been going on leading up to this point that has been affecting local politics, right? And when you see it through that lens, and this is why you're on the off ramp right now, it's weird looking at things from a local political view. It actually gives you a bird's eye view on what's happening, okay? Because it forces you to connect the dots from what's happening out there to what's happening in my community. And when you are able to mentally connect the dots, you can actually see the bigger picture, right? And so let me give you an idea of what the local level impact has been leading up to the Iran war, okay? You guys have seen it. We have seen inflation, grocery prices going up, right? We've seen a lot of political instability. We've seen election instability, right? We've seen cryptocurrency swings. We've seen a massive spike in online fraud, a massive spike in white collar fraud, a massive spike in political fraud. We've seen a massive spike in online violence, a massive spike in online political violence. This is what was coming in, affecting all of us on a local political level. We don't talk about it, but these are the things that are really impacting us, okay? And all of those issues, if you look at what's really driving them, a lot of it is coming outside of the United States in. It's our enemies outside who are creating bot armies that support the Groypers, for example, Nick Fuentes and those guys on the right, who are now calling for everyone to vote for Democrats after attacking Iran. Coincidence? After Trump attacks Iran, Nick Fuentes and the racist Nazi Groyper guys decide to say the Democrats need to be voted for. Well, that's more than likely. If you look at, I wrote a piece on this. If you look back at Rutgers University, they did a study on the Groypers' online activity, and it's foreign bot stuff. And so, where is this coming from? So, here's the question: where is all this online violence, the online fraud, the election interference, the election fraud, the fentanyl problem, where the white collar crime, the political corruption? Who's paying for all this? Is the question. And I'm telling you, since all this stuff is bad stuff, it's almost impossible to figure out who's paying for it. And so, it, from my experience, what I've seen is the people paying for it, or at least the corridors where this stuff gets paid for, comes through places like Iran, Venezuela, North Korea, places that are under huge sanctions are the places that the highway of funding for all of the stuff that are giving us problems, the inflation, all this stuff, it's coming through the sanctioned countries. That's what's creating the tension in our country. That's what's creating all the disinformation flowing through online stuff. These guys, through dark money, are funding all sides to fight with each other. This is where we're getting the chaos. And so, what do we see? Trump takes out Maduro, and then he goes and he wipes out Iran. Now, we can talk about the elite stuff that these guys are talking about in the media space, or we can talk about the fact that, hey, this is going to impact this dark money underworld of things that's been funding the nightmares of our societies in the West. Because if you ask, well, who's funding for all the human trafficking for people coming through the borders? It's coming out of places like Iran. It's coming out of places that are sanctioned, Venezuela. That's how it's happening, right? And so what we're seeing right now, if you're wondering from your point of view as a regular person, normal people, how has this impacted me? Okay, well, it could impact you a little bit. There may be some terror attacks here in the United States as retaliation. Okay, fine. But the bigger impact on you is going to be, we're going to see less craziness online with this social media crap. We're going to see fewer online scams. We're going to see less online violence. We're going to see less international terrorism. All of that happens. We're going to see fewer crypto scams. All of that happens by taking out that guy Khamenei and the Ayatollah Khamenei and his crew in Iran. That's what Trump did. And so everyone's wondering now in the news, well, who's going to do what? It's all chaos now. We don't know who's going to be in control next. It doesn't matter who's in control next. All that mattered was that we knocked out the money source for the chaos that we're seeing in the streets here. It doesn't make sense to most people. How can Iran be the money source for chaos in the United States? That's why they are so dangerous. Those guys became the masters of the universe of how to get anything into the United States through the black market. They became the masters of the universe on how to play all kinds of political games. That's why you see people like Tucker Carlson and these guys on the right supporting them. Whether Tucker and those guys know it, the money that funds them comes through Iran some way, somehow. It may be through Americans through Iran, but the bottom line is Iran becomes like a money laundering haven, a place where it's so dark and opaque because of the sanction regime that you can put things in there and spit things out and no one can find out who the originator was of it. That has been dismantled. That's all that mattered. And so all these other debates going on really don't matter. All that matters is the central hub of all of a lot of the online political craziness, a lot of the online savagery, a lot of the international terrorism. It's just got snuffed out. That's what this was about. That's what Venezuela was about. It's about getting rid of these dark money underground economies that have mastered that system to create havoc around the world. That's what this is. And so you will hear the elites say this is about the central bankers in the West. They're so upset. They want to force the Iranians to do business through JP Morgan Chase. That's their argument, right? No, what everyone's saying is the Iranians have to stop, funding human trafficking and slavery through their oil transactions. That's what we're saying. That's what everyone's saying. They were never going to stop. They were always going to be kings of that because they became masters of it. And it was like a money printing machine endeavor for them. They became mega wealthy, mega powerful. They could touch almost anybody anywhere. They tried to assassinate President Trump twice. So these guys, truly dangerous, but because of the failure of the media and the social media people, no one's telling anyone. I'm the only one on the off ramp telling people flat out what's going on here. What is causing the havoc that we see in our everyday lives? It's these black market countries. It's the Venezuelas and the Irans and the North Koreas. They're the problem on the entire international stage for almost all of the fraud. They are the problem. And so Trump has just eliminated that. And I put up a piece talking about, this dragon, and Trump is the dragon. I'm not saying it's good or bad. What I'm saying is in Chinese mythology, the dragon came when an adjustment had to be made when something was out of balance. And if you look around yourselves right now, the world is out of balance. And so the United States has a dragon that it elected in Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is resetting the balance. Whether people agree or not, that's what's going on. And that's what we're seeing. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be a happy ending. I'm not supporting Trump. I'm just trying to help you guys understand, like, what was the impetus behind this? What was the thinking behind this? This is the thinking. And so start paying attention to future. We're going to see more drug busts. We're going to start catching more human trafficking. You're going to start seeing these networks of criminals start to collapse. This was a big blow to the criminal networks of the world. They're upset right now. They are freaking out. They've got a big problem. And so there will be backlash. We will see some violence that's going to happen. But you guys got to understand that there's a fight here. And the fight is between a large group of international criminals. You see in the news, Epstein was one of the leaders in the group. There's many of these guys. Epstein was one of them, but all of these guys use places like Iran and Venezuela and Cuba, okay, as their ability to get financing from really bad people so that they can do really bad things. That's what's been going on, and that's what's getting shut down right now. Does it go away? No. But I can say I think it got too organized. Too many of the elite around the world got ensnared into this way of being and operating, this blackmail world of death, blood, destruction, greed. It's overrun the elite of our world today. It's overrun them. And so this is the ramifications of it, what you're seeing in Iran, and there will be more. Because I don't think these guys want to give up. I think these guys want to continue to have a planet of human slaves. They want to continue to have a planet of bribed politicians, of blackmailed politicians, blackmailed leaders. They want the chaos, and they're bringing it. And it's taking a dragon, someone who is not an angel, and Donald Trump, to have to take on. It's like bad on bad. This is fire fighting fire is what we're seeing. So I'm not supporting Trump. But what I am saying is I can see it. I understand things are out of balance. And there's a fire dragon coming in here, and he's getting to work. And the world's on fire right now because of it. So we will see how this goes. But I wanted to hit you guys with this after everyone else spoke on it, because this is the true story here. There's a true dark evil in this world, and it's in the elite sector of our world. It's scary. It's bad. Okay. And they're at war with each other. And this is fallout from that war. What you're seeing in Iran. and it impacts us all in our daily lives. This is how intertwined we've become as a world, and this is how powerful this evil has become in our world, where it is now touching all of us and it's impacting all of us, right? So that's where we're at. The news will continue to break on this. The Epstein stuff will continue to break. But just understand that the Iran stuff, the Epstein, it's all the same thing. It's all different parts of it, but it's all affecting us in our everyday lives in the sectors of online crime, cyberbullying, disinformation, election interference, political corruption, human trafficking, drug smuggling, gold smuggling. This is where we're getting hit. When the elite get evil, like our world's elite are evil, this is where it's impacting. So we're going to start seeing some changes in this area. Maybe some bad, maybe some better, but keep an eye out, because that's how this is working right now. And that's the fight. And this is why Trump's doing it, because it's fire versus fire at this point. It's elite versus elite, and it's international. So with that in mind, guys, thanks again for joining. Thank you for the likes and all of the subscriptions, all of the shares. I really appreciate it. I will be back on tomorrow night to talk about the news of the day with you. I love you guys. Take care. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.
Now I'ma put it down like that. I'm leaving, I ain't coming back. You don't like the way I act anyway. You really don't have to react. Don't try to change my mind, in fact. Honey, I've already packed all my stuff. We're no longer kids, let's move on. And you are not my kid, so I'm done. Please don't make me pull my gun. Sorry boy, I can't be the one. You know it, yeah. Nothing lasts forever. You know that a change will make it better. You know that nothing lasts forever. You know that, yeah, change will make it better. There's no one to blame, you see. Maybe we're not meant to be. There are plenty more fish in the sea anyway. Every day's a different thing, so I'm not into wedding rings. It ain't personal, it's the way I think. Yeah. You